Hello, I'm MC Toon. You know, Flat Earth is a religion for uneducated science deniers, and the new movie, Level, is a perfect example of this. This is my second review of the movie where I'm covering Dave. Well, allegedly I'm covering Dave. He goes by allegedly Dave. Allegedly. His real name is Dave Murphy. Allegedly.
We're told that the sun is a massive ball of burning gas 93 million miles away.
Well, Dave, you're not starting off too well there, are you? Where did you learn about how the sun works? An 80s comedy movie?
My God, the sun.
What is it, Simon?
A large fiery ball at the center of our solar system, but that's not important now.
But if that were true, then all the light that arrives here would be parallel because it's so far away. And it has to be parallel because one of the most often cited supposed globe proofs is Eratosthenes' experiment between Alexandria and Syene, by which he calculated the size of the Earth. For that calculation to be accurate, the light must come down parallel. The only problem is that that's not what we see. If you go out on a sunny day with broken cloud, what you'll see is that light comes down at angles, diverging angles. And that means that we can follow those light rays back to the source.
Well, Dave, if that's true, then the sun is literally sitting in the tree right here. Or maybe it's right on top of this woman's shoulder.
And triangulate the sun's height above the Earth.
Well, Dave, are you going to do that? Are you going to definitively tell us how high the sun is above Flat Earth? No, you're not. Geometry isn't exactly the kind of thing that flat earthers ever do. But by your logic, does that mean that the sun is literally inside the ground here? Or here? No, Dave, so how can you be so wrong about this after this many years of doing your own research?
Well, I've been drinking urine now for 6 years.
Oh, I guess that explains it. Gross.
Proving that the sun isn't millions of miles away. But we can also perform physical experiments that prove that these crepuscular rays, as they're called, can only be recreated with a light source that is small and close.
So here are strings inside of a piano. By Dave's logic, all of the strings converge to a point inside the piano on the other side there. Or this one, these train tracks obviously must converge to a point about a mile away. No, Dave is wrong here. Long lines that are parallel appear to converge. This is called perspective. This isn't anything new. This is the same things that have been explained for 5 years. Dave, how did you not pay any attention to these things in the last 5 years?
Well, I've been drinking urine now for 6 years.
Okay? Snow cone? No, don't worry. It's lemon.
Yeah, you said that already.
Imagine a table 2 meters wide in a completely dark room, and you're holding a small but very bright light bulb, 3.4 millimeters across, and you are holding it about 31 centimeters above the table. What you'd see is a circular pool of light directly on the table, beneath the light bulb. But on the other side of the table, it would be in darkness. Now, it seems to our mind that if you were on the other side of the table, you would see the light because it's, above the table. But that's not true, because on that part of the table, it's in darkness, meaning that the light isn't physically reaching that part of the tabletop.
Well, Dave, you totally screwed up there. We can still see the light above the table. Exactly what we're saying. If the Earth were flat, the sun would never go down, just like in your example. How could you miss such a simple thing, Dave?
Well, I've been drinking urine now for 6 years.
Can you tell us where it came from?
I'd be glad to. Billions of years ago, the Earth was a molten mass.
Ted,
As it...
I'm talking about the powder.
Oh, we haven't got a clue about that, Ed. Here, let me take that urine specimen from you, Frank. However...
We're also told that the sun sets because as the Earth rotates us away from the Sun, it's actually obscured by the physical curvature of the Earth. That's not what we see.
What we see is a local sun that is taking its local light with it. What happened to the horizon glowing across half of the world? Most sunsets are already fading through pollution, dander, chemtrails, and fog. Plus, refraction will always make the sun seem like it's going down, as well as your perspective.
It would appear to sink down in your field of view. That's perspective. The further away you get from it, the lower it will appear. It doesn't physically change its height, it just appears that way to your eyes, until eventually it will disappear behind the horizon formed by your eye's vanishing point.
There is no such thing as your eye's vanishing point. That's just nonsense made up by uneducated science deniers like Dave. Now, things do get lower in the sky with increasing distance, but it's not like the deceptive drawing or chart here that Dave put up. It's an asymptote function. That means that the amount of drop reduces with the same amount of distance. So something above a flat Earth, a surface, could never be blocked by that surface because there's nothing in the way to block it. Dave, this stuff is covered in high school math. Why are you so wrong about these things?
Well, I've been drinking urine now for 6 years.
Your eye has an angular resolution of 0.2 degrees. And anything at that height will disappear beyond the limit of your sight.
Dave, you said the eye's angular resolution is 0.2 degrees. It's actually 0.02 degrees. You're off by a factor of 10, but it doesn't really matter because this is your eye's angular resolution, the ability for your eyes to resolve detail. Things smaller than that don't disappear. You just can't differentiate details in them. This is incredibly stupid. How are you missing all this stuff?
Well, I've been drinking urine now for 6 years.
Is it necessary for me to drink my own urine? Probably not. No, but I do it anyway because it's sterile and I like the taste.
Many times we can see time-lapse footage of the sun that shows it getting smaller as it moves away from us.
Why do flat earthers have to throw out this lie all the time? There's no solar filter on that camera. When you're looking at this particular one, you're not seeing the size of the sun, you're seeing the glare of the sun. You're not seeing the sun shrink, you're seeing the glare shrink. But when you put a solar filter on, you see that all day long the sun is the same size. It never shrinks. In fact, it rises and sets at the same size all day long. Why do you gotta lie all the time? Well, you know what they say, you gotta lie to flurf.
Now, that's not always the case, since the sun is travelling around the North Pole. The closer you are to the north, the less you'll see the size change. But from locations beyond the equator, you'll absolutely see the sun's size change.
It's lemon, I swear. Now, Dave is just blatantly lying here. He doesn't show you anything to support his claim, but we know that the size of the sun is the same everywhere, north or south of the equator. It's just a flat lie that he's saying here. Dave, why do you have to lie so much?
Well, I've been drinking urine now for 6 years.
No, Dave, that's not it. You're just a lying scammer. Did drinking your own wee turn you into a pathological liar? What else do you do with your own piss?
Part of the therapy is actually to wash your body with it, and one of the things I do every day is wash my face with it. Literally.
No, God!
Start rubbing it in.
God, please, no! No! No!
Now it's going to take a little time.
I'm gonna be sick.
There's also an effect that occurs under certain conditions called atmospheric lensing, where the sheer amount of atmosphere, as well as the rain between you and the sun, acts like a lens and a prism, magnifying it greatly, which leads to another observational proof that the sun setting is an optical effect.
Unfortunately, Dave, that's not how it works. Raindrops don't magically magnify things. They block things. And this is where Dave's lies really go over the top, because refraction in the atmosphere causes things to appear higher, not lower. This has been known for a long time. Centuries-old nautical almanacs have tables describing the amount of increased angular height that distant objects will have due to refraction in the air. The effects of refraction have been studied in hundreds of research papers. It has the opposite effect of what he's claiming. And then this deceiving demonstration here uses the wrong side of the lens to intentionally lie to people. It bends light the opposite direction of what it does in the atmosphere. Look, when you have to lie to support your position, it really shows how vacuous your position is.
At such times, when the sun is setting over the sea, and it seems as though it's half hidden by the horizon, then you can zoom in with a high-powered zoom camera and see that it's actually still above the horizon. It's just an optical illusion.
Well, Dave, if that's the case, then you should be able to wait until the sun completely sets. You don't see it anymore. And then zoom it back in from over the horizon. That never happens. You know why? Because you're seeing glare, just like I talked about before. Put a solar filter on that camera and the confusion will be gone. You shouldn't have to lie to people to support your position, Dave.
Urine therapy.
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 You fellas been doing a bit of boozing, have you? Sucking back on Grandpa's old cough medicine? Yeah, well, what's that?
I'm actually afraid to open because this is about a year old.
You'd keep your mouth shut if you knew it was good for you, buddy.
I'm feeling it now, actually.
Tic-tac, sir? Get the hell out of here.
Seriously, Dave, putting the word therapy after something doesn't actually make it therapy. What's next? Personal Tootsie Roll sandwich therapy? No, gross. So Dave is not the only flat earther to do this. If you remember from my previous one, Tanner does a bunch of blood magic rituals.
Spilling blood. My blood. Over my intent.
As I continue to cover the different people in this movie, the picture will become more clear about this cult thing they're in. So be sure to subscribe so you can find out about the stuff they're into. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.